wonderful. So keep it up. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm not ready to hang it up, so it's
No.
all good. All right. So why would we want to have micro-credentials? This is Audrey Paquette. She's from Quebec, Canada, and she was one of our very first recipients of a micro-credential. And this is what she said about it. She said, I want to be recognized for the professional learning I am doing. Micro-credentials bring weight and accountability, empowers me greatly, and increases my confidence. I'm so very proud and excited to start accumulating, these micro-credentials. And she was just so excited, and she's working on some more now. So we're really happy that she shared her feelings with us. So what are micro-credentials? So what's so interesting is that they're personalized learning. So often we have to, if you're in a program, you have to take courses that you may or may not be interested in. So micro-credentials are an alternative to advanced degrees, and they provide you with a way to take professional development of your choice that can be compiled into stackable blocks of knowledge in a particular topic. Micro-credentials demonstrate your continuing professional development, your dedication, and your desire for improving your practice and knowledge through personalized learning. So often we want to take courses, and you take the course, you finish the course, and you get a certificate at the end, maybe. What we do is kind of add a little more weight to that course by giving it an assessment at the end with some accountability of 80% or greater. So it's a way for you to demonstrate your knowledge through the coursework and through the assessment or the portfolio that you can design. Okay. And then you get a nice, really cool little badge that you can put on your social media, and it demonstrates that you are really trying to improve yourself. So in a recent study, actually not so recent, I have two studies actually, 2015 research study by Digital Promise. Now this is so interesting. It says that 99% of our teachers have to participate, as you all know, I'm sure you all do this, in professional development. So 99%, every teacher, almost every teacher has to do it. Some average 30 hours of PD a year. Most teachers, 72% participate in informal training. It's not required. But here's the best part. 84% of teachers reporting the in-service days, only 20% are showing satisfaction. 20%. So we know that you sit through this training, as you were talking about, Kara, earlier, and it may or may not give you what you expect to get out of it.
Right. For 3 hours. What are we going to be doing for 3 hours?
Well, there you go. So, and what's interesting is that only 15% of teachers are familiar with the concept of micro-credentials, right? It is more popular in Canada and in Australia, New Zealand, in most of Europe, but it's just getting started here in the States. And based on this survey, we see that why do people want to take micro-credentials? They want to learn new skills. Wouldn't you say that would be why you want to get it, professional development? You want to get better. You want to find things that are supported by research. And you can go down and see that these are the desires that people have. Why would you get more training, right? And as good professionals, we always want to develop our skills, our skill set, and improve that. Okay, next slide, please. But here's the beauty of micro-credentials. It's personalized, okay? So you can choose the courses that you want. They are high quality courses, and that's our job to vet those good courses. And it addresses the need for competency-based learning for educators. You can identify specific competencies that you wish to develop, especially in the SOR world. that's very specific skills that we're looking for. And not all courses that you take at a typical college may or may not address those skills that you want to learn. You receive your recognition through your badge. And the NEA, or National Education Association, actually recognizes micro-credentials, but interestingly enough, they don't have any in the science of reading. So we are cutting edge. We are hoping to be cutting edge. Next. Okay, so why should you earn it through Credentials Unlimited? We have gotten together and we saw a need to recognize training for teachers. We choose good companies. We align it to the science of reading and structured literacy with the knowledge and practice standards for teachers of reading. Credentials Unlimited and micro-credentials are only awarded with an 80% or better on the final assessment or your portfolio. So not everyone gets them. And if you don't pass the test the first time, you do get a second and third chance. But we're really trying to tighten up the standards and making sure that you're getting good, high quality instruction with demonstrating competency. So here are currently the courses that we are that we have vetted and we work with right now. Lori, if you could click on Steps to Literacy 1, it's linked to their course. Now this is a brand spanking new what's the offering that we have, and what they have done, AIM Institute has bundled 3 of their courses into one bundle. So you get the overview of science of reading, you get phonological awareness, and decoding and spelling. So that's one literacy bundle. Literacy 2 is coming, and that will be awarded soon, or we will be awarding that soon. Yep, go to the next one. And all of these are the ones that we offer. So what's behind the badge? So if you click on that, we can find out. So when you do get your badge, and I actually have one, this is mine, from Reading Teachers Top 10 Tools. I took the course 2 years ago, and I thought, oh, I'm going to try taking the test. So I did, and I actually passed. So I was able to get this badge. And if you can see, there's a description of the course, what's in it, and then the competencies that we have aligned the course to. And these are, again, are based on the knowledge and practice standards of, let's see, this slide. Oh, okay, sorry. These are aligned to the knowledge and practice standards of IDA's knowledge and practice standards for teachers of reading. So, okay, and next slide, please. And then what's really cool is our software is able to break down the skills, as you can see, through Credentials Unlimited, is able to give you a breakdown of the skills that you were tested on. So these are the competencies, and then you can tell which one you're much better at than the others, or ones that you need more work on. Okay, so this is a really nice breakdown for you to understand your strengths and your weaknesses in building your professional portfolio. So coming soon is our Steps to Literacy 2. I don't know if that's linked. Maybe you can go back, Lori. See if I linked that. I don't remember. No. Okay. All right. Lori, your turn.
All right. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and then see if we have questions about what we've shared so far.
I do.
Okay.
Do you, oh, yay, there's more people. Hi. Do you recommend taking things in any sort of order?
That's a great question.
Great question.
We don't have a recommendation right now, but I'm going to show you in a minute our kind of our map that puts everything into perspective. And we are, like, if there was a certain area that you wanted to know, you wanted more information on, or to take a deeper dive, we would recommend some courses, right? So we have a map that we've set up that can kind of guide you. We are thinking, and maybe we can all get your feedback here, but we're thinking of doing like a pre-assessment, right? Doing an overall assessment of all the skills and content areas and around the science of reading, the big five, and then morphology and syntax. And where are you having that report like we just showed you there? It could kind of tell you which area is not your strongest. And then you could go into the map and look at what courses would help you take a deeper dive into that.
Now, of the people that are on right now, does anyone have experience with micro-credentials or know of states that use them?
Aileen, you're raising your hand. Go ahead.
I'm raised my hand twice. I even turned my camera on for you all. I'm so excited. This is my lazy work day in Seattle. So yes, the state of Washington, through our organization, state organization, which is pronounced PESB, the Professional Educators Standards Board, did start some micro-credentials probably about 5 years ago in kind of the area of STEM and maybe computer science. I don't remember what they were. And in our advocacy around the dyslexia law, this was started before 2018 because our dyslexia law passed in 2018. And hang on, my sister's chiming in and I can't get her off my screen. Too many things going on. And it's supper time back there. We are still working out here. And so anyway, so we had a conversation with them at the time because it was like, micro-credential, what's that? You know, honestly, that sounds goofy. What would that be? And our concern, honestly, was they were looking at responding to our interest as dyslexia advocates and the like, around, well, why don't we make a micro-credential for that? That sounds, you know, like it would be easy. And we were really concerned. There's nothing easy about it, right? And this is really before really just as SOR and structured literacy and everything was starting to take off. And so we really were still, people were not appreciating the huge changes that we're talking about and needing to make in our profession, right? And the huge gaps in teacher prep training and PD training and all that, right? There was just really it was kind of like, oh, it's easy. We'll add 15 credits and everybody will be a dyslexia specialist. And that was obviously a bad idea. So we kind of talked them out of it at the time. And we're like, yeah, let's go back to the drawing board because we really need to rework higher ed a la Mississippi. Like, wow, that's a problem. So we are now we did, however, have, and one of the real reasons that I'm here today, because I've been following what you all are doing on this is remarkable. But I still kind of have my trepidation. The state of Washington actually just put out a grant this summer, and they've contracted with Glean Education and with Jessica Hannon, good, you know, Jan Housework's involved. There's some folks who are presenting things. So they're going to be offering 10 one-hour expert seminars this year with really good people. So 1 hour, so 10, basically 10, what we call clock hours, 10 contact hours through that. And then Glean has put together a bundle of 5 classes. There's a dyslexia basics, there's fluency, there's comprehension, there's a 5 or 6 hour class for school psychs. And there's one more. And again, when you get to that volume, and then they're looking at adding a practicum of some kind in the winter for people who have done the 5 classes this fall, then they could apply to be eligible for this practicum. Well, this starts to cry out for a micro-credential, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure it does. As
right?
You're talking, I'm going, oh my goodness. Yeah, that cries out for a micro-credential.
Right. And so I guess my question is, would there be any way that what we call OSPI, the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction, and Glean could work with your organization to package this into something? Because one of the things that you know, people are getting clock hours, and in our state, that's how you maintain your credential.
Right.
It doesn't advance you on the salary schedule.
Right.
They have gotten together with City University here. One of the professors at City University is actually halfway through working with the IDA to make her whole program align with knowledge and practice standards, which is remarkable. Literally 1 person, 4 kids at home under the age of 10, and she's doing this.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So they are going to be awarding credit. So they have figured out how to award credit that will advance people on the salary scale. They have figured out how to award clock hours to get, keep and get your credential. But what in my estimation, we don't have is that thing. It's almost like, if you're familiar, I think it's a national thing, the certificate of biliteracy that graduates can get on their certificate. Like if you're an Urdu speaking kid at home, you can take a test, and then your high school diploma will have a certificate of biliteracy on it, and it will endorse your home language, as well as obviously you speak English as well because you graduated from high school. So just kind of an awesome thing. So something that would basically give an additional atta girl, atta guy for the effort they've put in. That's a little more visible. Like maybe they go before the school board at the end of the year, like the national board people who get that recognition, so that there's some level of recognition, because we don't have and would not have for another 4 or 5 years any kind of endorsement, even if we went that direction, because it just takes so darn much time. And so we could hit multiple levers at the same time, and is kind of what my brain's thinking. And I want to shut up and not dominate, but that's kind of why I'm here today, is to kind of think about.
I think that's the exact reason Donna and I started the company, is because obviously people were taking great content, right? And the teachers on her page were just diving into all these webinars, especially during the pandemic, right? It was
oh my God,
so
you don't know
much
how many hours I've done.
And people really started to take personal control, and then they kept saying, well, but I'm not getting anything for it, right? I'm not getting, so what can we do? And so lo and behold, Donna and I started Credentials Unlimited for that reason, that you don't have to get a master's degree, and you don't have to get a certificate necessarily, but you should have something that has been vetted, that is a good course. And when Donna and I look at the courses, so we're vetting the courses that we're going to offer, that we are not just going to put a micro-credential on, anything.
Right.
It has to meet certain criteria. And then the assessment is a really big piece of it, that we map specifically to the knowledge and practice standards, right? So what questions on the assessment that you're showing that and what standard do they map to? And there have to be enough questions that can give us that thing, right? So
and the thing that's interesting is that with PESB, they actually already have a structure for these, right? And so I was thinking, with these 5, basically they could maybe get 15 or 20 people to be a little pilot group this year with what Glean is doing, if we hop on this close enough.
Yeah, Eileen, you know what? Let's do that. I know Jessica, we can connect with her and try to get this rolling. That would be great.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll link up an email with you and Jessica and the people at OSPI and PESB, and just kind of say, look, this is one of the things I do best, is my brain pulls stuff like this together randomly, but generally they're good ideas. It's just, the execution part has to happen somehow. But it's in this case, all the systems are in place. PESB already has some structure. I don't quite know what it is. And I don't know if that needs to be, for it to be an ongoing thing, I bet it would have to be vetted somehow, or might even have to go through the legislature this winter. Right? So again, we need to write legislation maybe to get it, so it's but to do the pilot, there's already this grant under structured literacy in MTSS. So that's how they slid it in. And so they allotted, I don't remember, $3 million or so. It's not very much, 300,000. It's not very much money. Everything's online. Everything I think is potentially asynchronous, because it just happened. They pulled this together between July, and it was just announced this week. So, it's just, it's so Huh?
We can definitely look at that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are also, Lori is actually heading this up. She's got a pilot going in Pennsylvania, and she can talk a little bit more about that. There's also a comment in the chat. This sounds like something perfect for me. 30 years experience, too late to get another full degree, but I'm extremely passionate about the science of reading. Micro-credentials would make me feel validated in sharing my knowledge. And that is so true. You know, you walk away with something. It's just not a certificate, because honestly, there are some companies who give you a certificate if you got 60%. I mean,
Or if you just showed up.
or not.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're setting a bar, and that's our goal, is to get high quality instruction and demonstrated knowledge for teachers.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had another question in the chat is this only for American teachers? And no, so we've had people getting the micro-credentials from different countries, and that is totally fine. That's another reason we know that micro-credentials are more well-known in the UK, in Canada, in Australia.
Right.
And so, yeah, we are offering micro-credentials to anybody that takes the courses that we have partnered with so far. We're going to be adding more courses all the time. And it sounds like we might be adding, you know, so if we're willing to do some work with districts that are, or states that are doing things and they want really good coursework with an assessment that kind of maps that all out for them. So if anybody's thinking in that direction, then hook up with us, please. And then there was a question about paying before you take the test. So just to give you some information, Credentials Unlimited is, we provide the vetting of the courses. Sometimes we provide the assessment on our platform, but we provide the badging and keeping track of your credentials. So we'll have, you know, if you take multiple of these courses and these badges, we kind of have a running transcript of what you've taken and the competencies that you've met, which is also a really great thing that, you know, you can just log into your badge cert and go, oh, here's all my credentials and here's all my badges. And there's ways to share those out on social media and to put them on LinkedIn and on your resume. Some schools are giving it for pay scale raises, some are not. So we're trying to work with state departments for them to kind of recognize these also, so that maybe it would be something that you could use on your pay movement. But the courses that we pair with, you do take that course first, right? So that might be a separate fee in taking that course. And then there might be, you know, when you're ready to take the assessment, you pay. And just so that you know, if you've already taken Keys to Beginning Reading or Teacher's Top 10 Tools, or if you've taken Sasha Borenstein's Teaching, Reading, and Spelling, those are ones that we have on sale till the end of September that you can take just for $30. You can get your micro-credential if you pass the assessment. So you would go in and yeah, you pay and you have 3 attempts to pass the assessment with an 80% or better. So hopefully that answers that question. All right, I am going to, are there any other questions before I move into our map?
Yeah, Sigrid here. I was looking on my other computer, micro credential portal through, I guess, Ontario Ministry of Education. Yet I don't see anything about the science of reading or any of that. What you've been mentioning.
There's nothing. That maybe we need to reach out there too. Like we're thinking reaching out to NEA and certain states that are doing micro credentialing, Delaware, Florida, that. And now you're saying Ontario, right? So reaching out.
Well, I'm different. I teach on a First Nation reserve, so it's federally funded, and I'm under the Anishinaabe Nation. So whether they're going there right now, they're still in the Fountas and Pinnell program.
Mhm.
And it's just one teacher has been mentioning science for reading this last year for the first time. So I'm sort of looking into it, and just some of it makes sense to me, but I need the rationale behind. If I don't know why, I can't do anything with it. You can't, that's just the way I am. So the other one is reaching out to some of the First Nations school boards, where they're, in some ways we have more Chromebooks than down south in the mainstream schools and different things, but we're really lacking behind in our literacy and numeracy, because in my nation where I work, most of the students come to school not speaking English.
Right.
So a lot of struggles there. So there's that, the Ontario education, but then there's also First Nations, which have their own education boards. Either out of, I just know Northwest Ontario. I don't know the rest of the east part of it, or the northern one.
Can you, Sigrid, can you put that link to the Canadian link that you were just talking about? And also, I would recommend that if you're just starting your journey, that, you could take Reading Teachers Top 10 Tools is a great place to start.
Sorry, say that again.
Reading
Say
Teachers
that
Top
again.
10 Tools.
Can you type that in the chat?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'll put it in the chat.
That's a great beginning course. There's another one, Keys to Beginning Reading, and that's another good course. Either one of those will get you started, and then you can start building your badges.
Right.
So the portal, excuse me, where I found for Ontario, I just went under Ministry of Education, Ontario Ministry of Education, and then typed in your name, and that's where we got all these different ones. But the reading ones are still the traditional other ways, not anything new based on, we're just I know the government is just slowly transitioning into the science for reading.
Oh, sure.
And so Ontario education itself is just navigating that within the policies at the government level.
Right.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Share. Are you seeing my screen with my
Yes.
map?
Yep.
All right. So this is, Kara, what we were talking about earlier is this may expand out more, but this is kind of where we're thinking right now with what type of courses we're looking to support and make sure that they meet some of these big topics, right? So Sigrid, if you were looking at overview courses, right, that those would be here. So these are kind of like the big buckets. And then this will be up on our website soon, but you can click on these and it will show you which courses we have that are already linked to a micro-credential. And this is the one, Sigrid, the Reading Teachers Top 10 Tools. These are, it kind of gives you an overview of what it is and then what are the topics they cover in the course. And then we have, Donna talked about this one earlier, the Steps to Literacy Bundle through AIM Academy. And here again, they have multiple modules, but module 1 is an overview of the science of reading. So you can see the things that they cover in that course. And then Keys to Beginning Reading. Here's the description, and then what are the 11 modules that are in that course. So you can see that these are really good overview courses if you really want to know and get a broader view of the science of reading. And then if you were looking at, let's just say phonics and word study, you wanted to know what courses could I take that are really going to help me with that. The AIM course, Steps to Literacy Bundle, the 3rd module, they go into decoding, how to teach decoding, spelling, the phoneme graphing, correspondences, meanings, and word origins. And also Sasha Borenstein's course, How to Teach Reading and Spelling in the Classroom, really takes a deep dive into how you bring those syllable types and teaching kids to read those multisyllabic words for reading and spelling. So you can see that each one of these, not all of them have filled courses yet. So we're still working on, I forget who mentioned it earlier about bringing in, I think Aileen, the coaching and the practice, right? What happens in the classroom? Like, we really want to start adding those in, so that if you're taking these other courses for the knowledge, then what happens when you go to put it into practice, right? We really want to, that practice piece is the most important of all, right? So this is our map of all the different bigger buckets that we are going to build courses around that have micro-credentials with them. So it's going to depend on if you take the course, and sometimes the assessment will be with Credentials Unlimited. So you take the course and then you come into Credentials Unlimited to take the assessment and get your micro-credential. Other times the assessments are built right into the actual course, and then you just have, if you've done the course and the assessment all together, the micro-credential comes automatically. So it depends on which course, whether or not it's already bundled into your course or not. I don't know if we want to go into like here for the comprehension. This is going to be coming. This one isn't up on their website yet, but the Steps to Literacy Bundle 2 from AIM Academy, where they really dive into the comprehension, because the science of reading is not just about the phonics and phonemic awareness, right? We're also bringing in that language comprehension piece of Scarborough's rope and focusing on those other pieces that are necessary.
Lori, did you touch upon the district you're working with?
So I think you had said that earlier, right? But yeah, so one of the districts that I'm working with, we're going to be adding an assessment course into our coursework. And so the teachers are actually going to be doing the knowledge piece and putting it into practice. And they will be getting a micro-credential for the work that they're doing while taking that course, but it's a face-to-face, you know, they come, it's not just an online course, they're going to be coming. So there's a variety of ways that this can be done. Sometimes people are taking it live in person, some people are doing hybrid, and some people are doing, you know, online modules.
And the district is willing to use that as a lane movement, which is unusual pay increase.
Right. Which is great.
Right.
Aileen, you had a question about how it's funded or supported on our end. I'm not sure I understand the question. I don't know if you want to unmute.
Yeah, Donna and I were just chatting about it privately, so that's fine.
Okay.
You guys are a private company, so
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm certain maybe not charging enough for whatever you're doing, but
we know that
way.
That's not the reason our goal, and I can, you know, yes, we're putting in a lot of work doing the upfront stuff, you know, vetting the courses, building assessments out, doing all the badging. Our goal is to make sure teachers are getting some kind of recognition that matters for the work that they're putting in without charging a ton of money. I mean, it's not about that. It's about teachers they're working hard. They should get, you know, something to show for it. And we're going to be working on the policy level too, to try and get this where if you have these badges, it counts more than just, yes, I got them, but can it be, you know, obviously it can be counted towards your, you know, CEUs, the things that you have to take certain number of hours of PD a week, that accounts for that. But we really want to see it on the pay scale or endorsements or certificates.
well, and the other thing is that the whole national board thing,
Right.
which I don't have, but partly because at my point in my career, it was a tremendous amount of work, and I identified like it got me nothing. I already have 2 masters, and this was the missing link and it's not included. Yet in Washington State, if you have your national board, you get $5,000 more a year or something like that. It's
Right.
nuts. And so,
Right.
how to, again, work at, from a policy standpoint, how do we change that system? I don't have any clue, but, but actually to make those meaningful, because in our state, those actually come with money.
Right.
So if we potentially can get these micro credentials under that, for our state, at least
Right.
maybe people could be eligible for funds that are already allocated, but it's, because why would you do this instead of that if that gets you, if you're
Right.
30 and you just want cash and you want to advance on the pay scale,
Right.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
and
your
every
goal.
state's different too. So that's, that all comes into play. Some bigger districts are recognizing micro credentials on the pay scale. So we would like that to be a bigger movement, right? So we're going to work on that on our end also.
Yeah, we're trying to reach out to people that are influencers and policymakers, and just trying to change the thinking in the United States about high quality instruction and the need for it, and how we can go about getting that without teachers, like you say, Eileen, having another degree. I mean,
Well, and that's, I think, where you get people over, let's just say in Washington, basically after 17, anywhere from 17 to 20, 15 to 20 years, you don't bump up on the pay scale anymore. And so that's where I hear people starting to count down to retirement at the age of freaking 45 years old. You're like, no, honey, you're not retiring yet. Like, you are not stepping off the train. Keep your foot on the gas, right? What can you do though to make this worthwhile? Because I understand it. If you're not bumping up the pay scale, and they're just giving you more kids, and they're not paying you for the 504s you're enforcing, and they're not paying,
Right.
I can understand the quote attitude. So we need to support our educators and get in there, right? But I just think that we need that quality piece. And in Washington, there's a class, I think it must be national, but I think it's VESI, all capitals VESI, and they offer any number, looks to me at least a half dozen classes in our what we call PD enroller, which is our tracking system. And I'm like, what are those classes? Who's vetted them? Right? Because as our OSPI is saying, oh yeah, we're moving to the science of reading. How are they vetting the course content then that they're endorsing, right? And is that something that y'all could help them with, right? Because it's a personnel issue.
Right.
So get another thing to do.
Yeah, right. In our
Right, but it's like, but could you take a look through? They contract with you to look through those courses and say, oh no, stop that contract. Right. Stop that contract for these reasons, because it doesn't align. Here's your stated goal is SOR. You've got these courses that completely don't align with it. Makes no sense. But we can offer you an alternative, and look at these alternatives, and wow, aren't they shiny and bright?
Right.
Yeah, and we know nationwide that teacher prep, I mean, I was a faculty member, and the reason I went to higher ed was because I saw what was happening, what the teachers training that was coming out, and I was like, this needs to change. And so that's one of the things I did, and our university became IDA accredited. It's not everybody's there, right? And so some of the courses, all the courses we're offering through our Credentials Unlimited are better than what's happening in higher ed when it comes to teaching kids to read. So you should get recognition for that. Right?
Yeah. Can I ask a question about that? Because I don't know anyone who is actually teaching in higher ed at this point. When I am mentoring students who are going through, like, we have year-long programs and they contract with our district, and the last mentee I had for a whole year, nothing was preparing him to teach reading. It was not even what I had when I graduated with my master's in 2006. I felt like I had more in-depth training than what he was getting now. It almost seemed like they were trying to push them through. Like, we're so desperate to get people out in front of the kids you know, here's a whole lot of reading, here's some research, try this. And I just felt like it wasn't at all what he needed. And I was scrambling. I was using a lot of things from your Facebook page. Here, look at this, let's back up. We need to start with some different assessments.
That's why the
you don't even
Facebook
know what
page
they, yeah.
has so
Like
many
you don't even know
people
what
in
they
it, right?
need. Yeah, exactly. Like you don't know what they need. Hold on. And I would get all excited when somebody would link some things like, wait, we have some more things to do here, and set up a whole folder for him. And this is what we started to do. And I thought, why? I feel like I'm adjunct faculty, but I'm flying blindly here because I'm not fully trained in this. Why isn't your university giving you some of these tools? And it was kind of a head scratcher.
Well, I think probably the most concerning reason is that there aren't enough professors that know the content. So how do you teach what you don't know? So we're trying to address that. I mean, it's a movement in higher ed, just like it's a movement in schools. It's just it takes a long time to change that practice, right? And that's what we're up against.
So it's a project, a big one, and we look forward to making this happen. And I'm the first one to realize that it can happen, because who would have thought our Facebook page would have wound up the way it is? If we just keep doing the work and promoting this, I think this will happen for teachers.
Right. Are there any other questions? Which
Okay,
country
which
is the
country?
most active? I would say right now, maybe
Australia?
US or Australia. Yeah, I mean, well, they're starting to make that shift, right? So and there's shifts in the UK, there's shifts in Canada, there's shifts in the US, there's shifts in Australia.
I think
Yeah.
a question I would have is how different are these, talking with Bethany, who's at Seattle U, and what's included in or required by endorsements. When I sat in on the OSPI webinar last week and found out the incredible number of hours that people could be putting in, 10 hours cumulative for the expert series, 18 if you do the course bundle, plus and just right there, you're at 25 to 30 hours if you do all that. And then if you actually do the practicum thing, you absolutely have the equivalent time and probably decent quality for an endorsement. Yet in order to be a formal endorsement, there's all kinds of hoop jumping through the legislature and PESB and all that stuff, and takes so much time to get that pushed through. So that's, I guess, where right now I see the micro credentials coming in, not as a lesser than quality, but potentially something that we can put through more quickly.
Correct.
And if we were to be able to put through micro credential in fluency, micro credential in K2, or like some subcategories or something,
right,
that then built into eventually, who knows, maybe we will build an endorsement that is a dyslexia specialist endorsement or is a structured literacy endorsement, and that we will thoughtfully make it 5 of those micro credentials add up to that.
Right.
But if you are somebody like me, maybe you don't need that. Maybe you don't need to spend $15,000 on an endorsement because you're old and the micro credentials
That
are
was
fine.
exactly our thinking in this.
Yeah. But if it moves you on the pay scale, or it reinvigorates you in your teaching, that's how we keep those 45-year-olds from taking their foot off the gas.
That's right.
So
exactly our thinking.
Yeah.
I want to work with you on this. This is very exciting.
Great.
Yeah, we have to set up a meeting. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but I will make some inquiries here and see what we can. Yeah.
And I know where you live, so this is all right. I think
I'm just going to put our emails in the chat, and if there's any other questions, we're happy to do that.
Your website does
thank
not
you
look
for
nearly
coming tonight. We really appreciate that.
Yes, we absolutely do. And hopefully we'll see you along this journey.
You guys have done a tremendous job on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, good night, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Good night.
Thank
Okay,
you.
take care.
Good
Bye.
luck, Kara.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
All right.